The aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well the product or service fits him and sells itself. If you want to be average, live on demand calls.
Thou shalt slow down. If you rush, you miss things. If you miss things, you lose money and trust.
If I say it, my clients tend to doubt it. If they say it, it's true.
Thou shalt present options, not ultimatums.
85% of sales presentations in the United States end without someone ever being asked to take ownership.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Waste No Day podcast. Your host, Nate and Brian, hanging out with you again. Looking forward to another great show. As always, whenever you're listening to us, whether it's Monday morning bright and early or you catch us later in the week, we're going to bring another great episode for you, to you, for your improvement. This time, no different, as we're talking about the 10 commandments of a maintenance call. Brian put these together. They are 10 great ways to keep yourself focused, dialed in, and productive with generally the right outcome is what we're looking for. 5 stars from that homeowner, and they are engaged in some new ideas of what you have brought to them, and you have done the service of a professional in their house. It's going to be a good conversation. We're looking forward to it. Before we get to the meat of that show, we're going to have just a little bit of time to open it up and get yourself thinking. We're going to start off with a quote from Brian.
Peter Drucker, the king of management, said the aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well that the product or service fits him and sells itself. And I'll correlate that directly to the maintenance. The aim is to know the client so well that the product or service that you present is just something that he or she will pick up and take.
Man, I tell you what, been paying attention to emails and things like that. We're working with a new guy at work in developing some of the things that we're trying to do in terms of marketing and outreach and things like that. And I was going over with him the 4 quadrants of, Sandler, the pain now, pain later, and pleasure now, pleasure later, as 4 different ways of looking at things. And I told him to study like the subject lines in his email inbox and see if he can spot which way they're angling on things. And I think it's an interesting idea to do that, especially because generally stuff that's in your inbox is something that you signed up for at some point, which means that you are either looking for some type of free discount or perhaps you were actually interested in that product. Maybe you get Bass Pro emails, or maybe you get some type of clothing retailer or food items, grilling, you name it, your subject. But there's a certain way that people construct those subject lines that it draws you in. Why does it draw you in? Because they're very creative with what they put in the subject lines, realizing that in today's world, most Americans never look past the subject line at all. And so, man, do you need a hook. And you want to make sure that that is drawing you in and that it is making itself available to you, the consumer, in a favorable light. And of course, trying to translate e-commerce and things like commercial sales or some type of pleasure sales into the plumbing, HVAC, electrical, roofing, world seems like a big jump until you really study how you are presenting things to the homeowner. Now, you might not be selling them a nice new Hawaiian shirt or something like that, but in fact, you probably are offering them some things that they may not even be aware of that could be far more beneficial to them, their family, their lifestyle, perhaps even their actual style, depending on what you're selling, than a Hawaiian shirt would be. And man, do each and every one of you listening have incredible offerings to bring to homeowners every single day. And I challenge you to check your perspective on the products and services that you are selling, because it's easy to slip into a frame of mind that nobody's really interested in these things. And, every once in a while you finally get somebody. Baloney. Many, many people are interested in the things that you are offering to them. That's why you are there. It is just how you are presenting them and your belief in them. And as we've said on the show, the transfer of enthusiasm that you are bringing to the equation that makes a difference. So, Brian, let's get this thing started.
Yeah. Talk about or think about the way that you talk about what you do for a living. Because really what Nate was just saying, it's like, yeah, I feel that. You feel that if you've been running calls a long time, where we get in these ruts of I'm just going to the next person's house and going to show some stuff and hopefully they grab one of them. It's like, And if you really think right now, stop, cut, what do I do for a living? It's like, I run 4 calls a day and hopefully sell something big on one. It's like, ugh, that's what I do for a living? No. I help clean the air in people's homes. I give people cleaner water, right? I give people hot water to their master shower faster. I help families not run out of hot water in the morning. When mom, who's got a parent-teacher meeting after she dropped the kids off at school, is going to be the last one to get a shower, the person in the house that hates cold the most in most homes is the mom.
I can testify to that.
As can I. I take cold showers on purpose a lot. My wife, she'll barely drink cold water. Definitely not putting her hand in it. She hates being cold. And then we have the opportunity to present products and services that alleviate these things, right? So you're like, maybe a client will like some of the stuff. It's like, dude, you sell clean air. You sell cleaner air in the home where the kids sleep. What do you mean maybe somebody will like it? Maybe you won't get in the way this time. Maybe. That's what you're really saying. You sell cleaner water without shoving it into tiny little bottles filled with, on average, 400,000 pieces of microplastic per liter. Right? It's in a little rubber bladder in the RO. And the rubber does not leach like the plastic does. Look it up.
Love my RO. Love it.
Yeah, buddy. Love it. Into the glass container, right?
So good.
Wow. Got my plastic shake bottle. I can't get off the shake bottles. And Amelia's just all over me about like knocking it off with these things because we have the stainless like all over the place and some glass stuff. But I'm like, my shake bottles are just so convenient, you know? But yeah, so look it up, man. You got Aquafina, Dasani, Fiji. Yeah, Fiji. All the good ones. Evian. Look them up. On average, the top 100 brands of water in the United States measured, on average, 400,000 pieces of detectable microplastic floating in a bottle of water per liter. 400,000 per liter. I'm chugging a liter of water. Like I'm hammering 400,000 pieces of microplastic, right? And then you have a point of use or under the sink purification system for a family where they have a little spout or a line taking it to the ice maker and the water dispenser on the fridge, right? It's not being contained in a paper thin plastic bottle. It's in a rubber bladder. And rubber leaches, it's almost zero compared to plastic. And it just sits there until they're ready to use it. Psh, comes on out, purified. Purified. Most of the water bottles, if you look at the back of them, say purified by Nate?
RO.
Reverse osmosis. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So what if we could just give them the purification system at their sink and skip the plastic part that we know is doing so much damage? So get to know what you do for a living a little bit better. Electricians?
Well, yeah.
You sell
Them
safety.
too.
You sell safety. It's safety. Like what? Yeah, who's buying? Nobody's buying that. Come on. Safety, comfort, now beauty. Dude, the lighting systems that some of our neighbors here in Desert Ridge, North Phoenix have. Like when you drive by the houses in the dark and you see some of the landscape lighting, and I'm just like, dude, like what? Like their houses are more beautiful at night than during the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy. Who's buying beauty for their home? Nobody, right? Maybe somebody. Come on, just get out of the way. Take some pride in what we do for a living. Get out. Garage door guys. Don't use this if you're not with A1 because they have it trademarked. The smile of the home. Right? That's what they call the garage door, the smile of the home. And Tommy, every now and then, Tommy Mello, the founder of A1, will post these ridiculous garage doors that A1 put in, like just crazy looking stuff. And my wife will see it and be like, you think our HOA would, and you think Tommy will hook us up? Like you see some of these doors and you're like, even if they gave it to us at cost, like that's a car. Yeah. But yeah, we sell beautification and safety and cleaner air, cleaner water, comfort, the enjoyment of the home, the enjoyment of these people's castles. And to think that maybe some will, maybe some won't, is such a fallacy, because if you paint the picture well with some passion and transfer some enthusiasm, they're going to. The question's going to be, can they qualify for a promotional plan? Right? Does it fit the budget, or can they qualify for a promotional plan? This needs to be the end of the conversation. Sorry, buddy. I know you said, like, let's not go crazy on the intro here.
And there you went. Getting our minds thinking about things.
Voila!
I tell you what, there's so much we're going to be talking about today, and a lot of what Brian talked about is going to bring into the equation. But I tell you, another thing that comes up on these maintenance calls is prevention. And you're talking about the idea of preventing significant amounts of pain or money expenditures in the future. And that is a powerful motivator as well. And we're looking forward to understanding more about that as we get into these 10 commandments. But before we do, why don't we take a minute and thank one of the listeners who's taken the opportunity to review the show. We are so grateful for each one of you who has done that. And we choose to express that gratitude by giving you a shout out on the show. So Brian, who we highlighted today?
Top tier, 5 stars. By far the best podcast for the trades. I highly recommend this show to anyone and everyone, especially those interested in upping their game in sales, service, or just improving their overall mindset. Mm-hmm. You won't find a better podcast than Waste No Day. 𝗺HVAC truck 56. My man went in.
Okay.
That is his name for life on Apple podcast reviews.
Yeah, anytime he goes and gets another job, he's like, listen, I have one condition only.
I need truck. Yeah. You got to retire my number.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the review, the shout out, and the gratitude there, man. We're so thankful that you took the time to do that. And we're also thankful that it's making a difference in your life. So thank you very much for sharing. All right. We are done with that part of the show, and it's time to jump into this. So 10 commandments of the maintenance call. Now, everybody has their own perspective on a maintenance call. Some of you have different variations of what it looks like in your particular industry. So bear with us. I think you'll find elements of things that you can apply no matter what you are running. But I ask you before we jump into this, what is your perspective on the maintenance call? Have you already written it off as a waste of time, just as something like that, right? So let's, before we get too much in the heavy here, let's make sure that we check our mind and get in the right attitude.
Yeah, I'll go first. My perspective on the maintenance call. The maintenance call got me my first $1,000 payday ever. My first $100,000 pay year, back when the 6-figure mark was such a huge deal. And eventually got me out of a truck. I graduated from truck to management because of my ability to turn and capitalize on maintenance calls. And I'm always telling technicians this. If you want to be average, live on demand calls. That's where everyone lives. That's where everyone looks good because something's already broken. The pain was built for you. Right? The urgency was created before you got there, so you get to bypass all of that. The homeowner already knows they need help. You show up, quote it, hope they're not getting other estimates because now you got work to do there, and collect a check. There's nothing special about a technician who produces at a high level on demand calls because those techs are everywhere. They're a dime a dozen anymore. But a technician who can walk into a maintenance call where nothing's physically leaking, broken, the AC works, the all the lights go on and off like they're supposed to, and create value, build trust, and help the homeowner make a decision to prolong the life of something or to enjoy more comfort in something, right? One way or the other. That's a different breed. That breed gets paid. That breed gets promoted. And that breed gets on podcasts and gets recognition because maintenance is the extra mile. It takes significantly more work to get very good and a high conversion rate and opportunity average at maintenance calls than it does on demand calls. This is the regular road where all the lazy techs live is demand call. Maintenance calls take significantly more awareness, higher levels of discipline, way better communication, and more courage. And most home services technicians won't do the work it takes to get good at them because the work never really relents. Like, you don't get so good at maintenance, you don't have to work that hard anymore. You can crush maintenance for 6 months at an 88% conversion rate and a $3,200 opportunity average, and then take your foot off the gas the slightest bit and collapse into 30% conversion and a $400 opportunity average, which is where most people live on maintenance calls. You know, a lot of companies don't even count them in their overall opportunity average and conversion rate. Mm-hmm. Cheaters. They don't even count them. How sad is that? As a tech, that you're on a team where they have to remove that from your score because of how pathetic it is. That's a reason to beat your chest and go find your supervisor and say, put mine back in. Watch this. And watch this. You don't want to be like, watch what I do this week. Watch what I do over, it's March of 2026. Watch what I do in 2026, right? Watch what I do by the end of 27. Because it's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to be that kind of work where you just fall back every now and then, like it's exhausting, right? But become the person who's begging for a maintenance call when everybody else is begging for the demand call. Your demand skyrockets. That's why the guys who crush maintenance win, and they win loudly. I love maintenance calls. It's where the rubber meets the road for me. It's what separates the men and women from the boys and girls.
You're spot on there, Brian. And as we consider the time of the year, at least for the HVAC market, this is certainly where a lot of maintenances are being done, preseason tune-ups, those types of things. But every industry, I think, has its variation of what this looks like. And I appreciate you getting us in the right mindset. And what we hope to do with the rest of the call is give you rest of the episode, I should say, give you a framework for the rest of the call so that you perform it well, and that you give yourself steps or focus points or reminders of how to do that and what does it look like. So Brian framed these in the context of some commandments, and we're going to get right into that right now. Starting with number 1, thou shalt slow down. If you rush, you miss things. If you miss things, you lose money and trust.
Yeah, that trust part is the real killer. You tell somebody you're about to do a thorough evaluation of their electrical system, and then you spend 40 minutes, let's say, doing an actual thorough evaluation. I know this is crazy to the electricians, because in particular, dude, you should have seen boot camp a couple weeks ago, the Wild Horse Pass. I said, I want outlet covers taken off. I want you checking these outlets. Check them for backstab and make recommendations to put them in right. And there was snickering in the crowd. And dudes were like, you know how long it would take to do an electrical maintenance if you pulled the cover off every outlet? And I was like, yeah, I do. I ran an electrical team for several years. And I told every electrician to slow down, get a little dustbuster or something, start pulling the covers off, and suck everything out and let the customer see it. it's an extra 40 minutes on top of your maintenance, right? But you're only doing a 20-minute maintenance anyway, so you got an hour. But think about the value built in that type of inspection. But here's what we were getting at. Let's say I tell the person I'm going to go through your system with a fine-tooth comb, and I'm do a very thorough evaluation of your system for safety and for anything that I think you might really enjoy having as an upgrade. And then I'll bring them to your attention, and you can do with them what you will at the end. And then I get through the entire electrical system, and they go, oh, did you notice in the master bedroom closet, if you turn the light switch on, it falls down back into the off position? And you're like, no, I didn't notice that. How's the trust?
Yeah, everything becomes subject at that point, because if you miss something that was seemingly so glaringly obvious, and certainly at the top of my mind, now everything else is suspect.
And I'm not saying it can't happen. It can happen in any situation where we just miss something, but the goal is to do such a thorough evaluation. There really can't be anything we miss, right? The goal is to find everything that could be an issue down the road or that could be upgraded for the longevity or comfort of the family, and bring it to their attention and let them make any kind of decision whether they want to move forward with something or not. But you've exhausted that system, right? Thou shalt slow down. Take your time. Build so much value in the inspection of that electrical system that they wouldn't imagine not having that done in their next house, right? Or they hear about a neighbor who doesn't have it done. You're like, what? Like, how do you even know your system's in good shape? These guys are pulling this thing apart. And this is what I want done anytime I buy a home. I'm getting an electrician over. Yep, pull the outlet covers. Oh, that's what one of the guys said. How much did you pay? How much did you tip the tech that pulled all your outlet covers off? I'm like, I don't know, nothing. Signed Waste No Day shirt. No, like I'll cash a tech out for coming to the house for sure. But like, I don't feel like you should be tipped for doing your job on a maintenance call. Like, what? Inspect the system. Pull the things off and make sure things are the way they're supposed to be, right? I want to give the electricians one more thing. I'm half tempted to carry this camera over to the outlets around my studio / master bedroom here. And look at how crooked all the outlets are, right? Now, a lot of them were so bad. Like if I'm sitting here at my desk and I'm looking like there's a four-way light switch next to my door, that several lights in the ceiling fan. Yeah. Well, it was so crooked that I'd be sitting here in the podcast and like, I don't know what it is, like 4 inches top to bottom. The top part would be like 3/4 of an inch from the door jamb, and the bottom part would be like 5/8. And you could so visibly see it 8 feet away where I'm sitting that I actually got the screwdriver out, fixed it with my little hand level. Why do electricians hate levels so much? What is that? What is that?
I don't know. Maybe it's Commandment 11. Thou shalt use
I never go into a house and where all the switches are crooked. It's like, sometimes I think maybe the painter finishes up and just throws the screws in there. Cause we've worked with some electricians who were they're like scientific with it, right? Some of your guys, they're not sloppy techs, but then you look at the light switches and you're like, come on, bros. We can't make these things level, for crying out loud. All right. Anyway, I'm on a mission now. It's game on.
You are. And
second commandment.
Well, the first one is slow down. We better speed this episode up lest it becomes 2 hours. So commandment number 2, thou shalt perform a complete inspection, not the problem, the whole system, water heater, shutoffs, pressure valves, fixtures, everything. You fill in the blank.
Yeah, whatever your trade is, it's like, well, I guess that could be another commandment, but we should make it a commandment that thou shalt perform a maintenance on every call we do, no matter what trade we're in. Because anytime we touch any part of the system, we need to inspect the system as a whole. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
It just makes sense. Let's see every part of it. So, yes, perform the complete inspection, not your favorite parts, not just the things you want to sell, but the entire system, top, down, front to back, fine-tooth comb, pull the thing apart, clean everything you touch. I love that stuff where there are fingerprints on the filter grill, right? And I'll be on a call where an HVAC tech will show up to do the maintenance. And the tech might wear gloves and it like isn't leaving fingerprints, but there are fingerprints already there. And I'll see the guy get like a Clorox wipe out or some spray or something and clean it. Like it's cleaner now than it was when he got there. And I used to see these HVAC techs do that when I was doing the plumbing call and they were on the HVAC call. And I'd be like, heck yeah, bro. Like yes, I love that. And it made me start doing it on the water heater. Make this thing spotless. Clean up, inspect, fine-tooth comb, everything gets the magnifying glass treatment, right? And anything that you find that needs to be addressed or that you think they might enjoy having as part of their system, we add it to the list, and then we will present it later with the options.
I think it's so important there, Brian. And really, I view the maintenance in so many ways as like going to the doctor. What's the first thing every doctor or nurse does when you go there? Takes your set of vitals every single time, no matter what. And that doesn't matter if you're there for a broken arm or if you're there for just a physical or a checkup. Every single time, your blood pressure, your temperature, your chest noise, all that stuff is going to get checked. Why? Because it's part of the overall system, and the overall system matters to even a specific problem. Moving on from that one to number 3, thou shalt educate the homeowner with analogies. Not just impress them, not try to overwhelm them, help them understand what they have and what it means.
Yeah, the analogy part, it was educate the homeowner, like make them understand the system and what we're talking about. But then the more I thought about it, the more I realized I probably wasn't smart enough to bring things down to a level that all the clients would understand naturally, and probably engineered my way out of a lot of sales until I started purposely using analogies. So every major component of the plumbing system that I would explain regularly, I would create an analogy for and put it in the notepad and just remember it. So every time I went to explain it, I explained it the same way with an analogy. And you hear a lot of techs do this in different ways. It's like the surge protectors being airbags in the car. I'm like, I've never had a surge. Have you ever used your airbag? No, I haven't. When you need it, will you be glad it's there? Of course, right? Surge protector, same way. Get a little micro surge, a little mini surge. Not crazy enough to like blow the house in half, but crazy enough to ruin your very expensive brand new refrigerator, right? Or way worse, TV at the beginning of a 3-day weekend and you don't have the money for a new one. That would suck. March Madness is upon us. You're a college basketball fan, right? Michigan dominating. Yeah, it sucked to lose your TV, right? Come on, surge protect that baby.
Nah, I think most of the audience would rather just let the surge do its work if they were forced to watch that. But I think your point is well said.
Yeah, this is how analogies work. It's going to take a technical concept that we understand, the client does. You're going to relate it to something that you know they understand and give it back to them like that, like Nate did with the doctor's mini physical that the doctor and the nurse do the second you step into the office. You don't get asked if you want to. You get told to sit there straight up, put your arm here, starts putting the cuff on you. Go ahead and uncross your legs for take you. Yep. Just put the other hand up on the desk. Yeah. Yeah. My leg's going to be crossed. Yep. Just breathe normally. Go ahead and relax. Right. And they check your blood pressure. They don't ask you if they can necessarily. Right. But that was a great analogy to the inspection and the maintenance call. And Nate nailed that analogy effortlessly.
And, you know, something about analogies, Brian, I was thinking about it. Like when I was in, school, we certainly had literary classes on things like similes and metaphors, right? Metaphors and similes being sort of the same nature, that man was reading a book as ... or like ... And I think one of the reasons that they are interesting is because analogies, which are sort of a variation of a simile or a metaphor, often have a story element to it where it draws your imagination to something. And I think that's what makes them compelling, because it draws you into a story, and story is always more interesting than just factual nonfiction. Stories that are compelling, that draw an emotion, that bring about a reaction, that create a stimulus in your mind that then draws your attention to it. And I think that's really why analogies can be so powerful in expressing things, both things that need to be addressed and things that are working well, which is great. And it's a great way to educate the client. Taking a look at number 4, the 4th commandment, thou shalt take pictures and show proof. If they can't see it, it is just your opinion.
Yeah, hopefully for me, the majority of the time I was in a truck, hopefully I got clients who were with it and energetic and curious about their system, and we're going on this mission together. I'll bring them around for the entire inspection and show them everything. Now, the one thing that would get sticky is they'd be like, how much would it be to just do that? Right? And they hit you with that constantly. And I'll be like, don't worry about it. I'm going to break everything out. All my solutions are going to go into some options for you, and you're going to have the opportunity to do what you want to do or nothing at all. But we'll do that once we have time to sit down and write everything down. Right? Hopefully one time saying that's enough, but you had the engineer who had to ask you every time you showed him something, how much just for that? You're like, we're not doing it this time either, bub. Kelvin calculus. We're not doing it this time either. But so if they're not going to come with you, now we have camera phones, we got tablets, whatever it is you use. If you're looking at something in the ductwork, don't bring Granny on the frickin' ladder, man. Just take a picture. In fact, you want to really nail it, ask her if you can use her phone and get up there and take the pic with her phone and show her. Because that way there's nothing nefarious could have happened, right?
Mm.
When you scoundrels taking a pic of somebody else's ductwork and showing the next client. So yeah, if you can't bring them around and show them in person, take some pictures, show them where the picture was taken, explain it in detail, hit them with some analogies, and let them come up with their own conclusion.
Yeah, I think, Brian, if you take it back to kindergarten, there's a reason that there was a time listed as show and tell, because that is the interesting time when you get to show something and tell about it, and draws people in. Similar to that analogy, but this time in actual evidential form or in proof or in picture form or video form is really great. Narrating it, those types of things. And I think there's really creative ways of bringing that about, or just literally take the client to the problem and have them look, touch, feel, smell, whatever it is in your industry that would be effective. But that show and tell concept is so important. And again, is bringing a validation and a trust to who you are, what you are doing, what you're finding, and why it matters. So let's progress into the next one. We've gone through 4 so far. We're looking at number 5 here, halfway through. Thou shalt end most sentences with a question mark?
Question mark.
Question mark. People trust what they help to discover.
Yeah. Or as Tom Hopkins put it, my favorite version of this, he said, if I say it, my clients tend to doubt it. If they say it, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to get them to tell me what they need. I'm not trying to tell people what they need.
And a great way of doing that is with questions.
Ask.
Same thought there, Brian. And man, have we had on some amazing episodes and guests who've really focused on that as a part of what they do and how they do it. I know that you've talked about doing that in role play, and you have a question game that you go through. But asking questions is so valuable because what it does is it forces you to shift the conversation to a reactionary, like you're waiting for them to react, rather than you are just always tell, which again, in Sandler sales, if you think about it that way, how much should you be talking versus how much should the client be talking? Theirs should be the larger percentage. How do you get a client to talk more than you? Well, if the client's name is Brian Burton, you're probably in for a great ride and you're going to find that percentage. But if it's Nate Minnick, you sure aren't unless you ask yourself a lot of questions, ask me a lot of questions. Then I might open up a little bit and we'll have a conversation. So make sure that you're ending with that question mark.
Yeah, the guys on our Thursday Q&A and Blue Collar Closer last week, my apologies, wanted to end with the game, which is, Nate, you're going to talk about, well, we're on surge protection. So let's say you're an electrician and your task is going to be sell a whole home surge protector, right? So we're going to start a timer and it's going to count down from 60 seconds to 0. And you have that 60 seconds to ask as many questions as you can to get me interested in a whole home surge protector, right? Now spit one, go.
I got you. Hey, Brian, I don't know if you're a big basketball fan or not, but did you see that freshman hit that 35-footer over the weekend?
Nope, not a basketball guy.
Not a basketball guy. Well, okay. I know not everybody's into it, but I mean, this kid was amazing. He hit such a deep three, game changer, game winner. I noticed you have a really nice TV over there. If you don't ask me mine, and what size is that? I've been looking at getting one for myself.
85 inch. I don't know how big they come.
85 inches? Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's amazing. It looks great on that wall. Did you get it from like Costco or Best Buy or like one of the big retailers?
That was Best Buy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know they sell some great stuff there. Just out of curiosity, like, you know, I'm sure something like that hanging on the wall is a pretty big investment and was something that you probably spent some time thinking through what size and, you know, however many pixels or whatever they do these days is. When you were picking out that really nice TV over there, did anybody talk to you about doing some surge protection or some type of a device like that, you know, behind it for the wall outlet?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We've got a little box plugged into the outlet behind it, and then everything plugs into that.
Yeah. And is it like one of those multi-plugs, or is it one that actually has surge suppression built into it? Do you know?
It's surge suppression, but it's four outlets instead of the 2.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It has
extra,
a little light on it. Yeah, it's surge protected.
That's fantastic. And I don't mean to pry, Brian, because it's certainly not my business, but I'm guessing that TV might have cost you somewhere in the 4 figures.
Yeah, it's $1,800, I believe.
Yeah, I tell you what, my wife and I got a new fridge just the other year, and I don't know if it's been a while since I've purchased appliances, but apparently fridges have done nothing but go up, just like cars. And you know what I find to be funny is that nobody at the appliance store, when I was getting a fridge, offered me anything for something that costs 3 times what that television does.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah, so I don't know.
We got a pretty nice fridge too, Nate.
Do you? Yeah, I did notice that. Ironic you bring that up. I did notice that as I was walking around, and I was just kind of wondering, like, hey, I wonder if Brian's ever really thought about the fact that, you know, for some reason, the people that sell TVs seem to really care about surge, and everybody's been kind of trained to think, oh yeah, you buy a nice TV and you have to make sure that it's not going to get shocked. But not a lot of people think about other more expensive appliances in their house, like their refrigerator, their range.
Hold on, let me stop you there, Nate. Are you saying I need to pull out every one of my appliances and put one of those boxes behind it? Because that sounds like a lot of work.
You sure could, Brian, and probably wouldn't be a bad idea to, you know, take the dust buster back there and knock out some clean if it's like my house. But I tell you what, if you're interested, there's actually a simpler way of doing this. It's actually a device that can do surge protection over the entire home, no matter if it's...
Nice job, buddy.
You know,
I think we're far enough. plumbers and HVAC techs, garage door guys, solar guys, they all tuned out. Enough about the surge protection. Yeah, but that's it. Nate just played the question game. We didn't time it. But the job is to ask as many questions in the direction of your product as possible in 60 seconds. I think the guy said David Starr is holding the record in blue collar closer at 13. Mike Kozak was saying it because he wanted to end Thursday's Q&A doing it. I think he wanted to try to take the record, but we didn't have time. So maybe we'll do it this Thursday.
Crazy. I love that. Brian,
That's the game, though.
Do you think you'll do the question game this Thursday?
By the time anybody hears this, 100% yes.
Yeah, you'll have a couple Thursdays to honor that equation.
Right.
All right, let's move on. Commandment number 6, thou shalt present options, not ultimatums. Premium, mid-grade, economy, let them choose and control without pressure.
Yeah. This one feels like a horse that's so beat to death, we don't need to kick it anymore. But if you're just presenting what needs to be done or what you think needs to be done, at the very worst case, at the very simplest version of this, it's either yes or no. There's 2 options, right? And if you're like me presenting 3 options, now you have 4. Yes, 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 or no. And your chances just go up of getting a yes, right? When you have 3 yeses and 1 no versus 1 yes and 1 no. That's at its most primitive form. And then there's 100 other better reasons than that. But to me, that's just the lowest level of why you have to present more than an ultimatum. An ultimatum is this or nothing. Options mean this, 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 or nothing. So at its lowest level, give yourself more of an opportunity to get a yes by presenting multiple yeses.
Yeah, Brian, I think there's so many retail analogies to why this is important and valuable. Pick your favorite hobby, whatever it is. Brian, do you have any hobbies besides like talking?
I don't even enjoy that anymore. It's not really. I'm bored, tired. Yeah, sleep, but I don't get much. Yeah, I like the gym. I mean, my hobby is the gym, and in that hobby, the least stressed out I will feel from 3:45 a.m. to 9 p.m. or whatever time I crash tonight will be when the doors of the gym open and I hit that parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
I feel magnificent coming out of the gym after a heavy lift. As long as I got some weight up and some good reps and like pushed myself. Yeah, that'd be my hobby.
Absolutely. So if I said that, hey, why don't you come join my gym? And you're like, cool, man, I'll do that. And you walked in and I had 1 leg machine, 1 bicep machine, 1 bench, and 1 set of 35-pound dumbbells. And I was like, here you go, baby. Gym, right? All this for $49.99 a month. Would that be your definition of a good time?
You could pay me $49 a month and I would never show up.
Exactly. So what you want and how you define a gym, although you rarely actually talk about it, you like to go into a place where there's 10 different everythings for every muscle that you can possibly think of. And you have the opportunity to shop your exercise, whichever variation you're doing today. And if one of those machines is full, you can use an alternate, or if there's always plenty of benches and dumbbells and all the accessories and all these things, because you like to choose, because you like the options and you like to go to a gym that presents those options. And that's why ultimatums suck.
They do. Yeah. Even though majority of the year I'm doing the exact same thing on Monday and Tuesday, like every Monday, every Tuesday, like I know what I'm doing. I still like to walk past all these machines, half of which I've never even used, and just see the option there, and then occasionally it's just like, I don't feel like doing my shoulder presses or whatever it is today that I usually do on Tuesday. And I might grab one of these machines and just tear into it. Let's see if we can get the whole stack. I just want to be able to get the whole stack on every machine.
That abductor machine is just calling your name.
That one never calls me. There's always some 72-year-old lady on there trying to get a 6-pack. You know what you never see? You never see a guy with an 8-pack abs on the ab machine. You know what I mean? He's on his knees at the cable, just with the cable like in his hands under his chin, yanking down on it, just crushing his abs, or upside down on the incline bench, just crunching with a 45-pound plate. But you never see him on the actual ab machine. Yeah. You never see me doing abs, so it doesn't matter.
Well, whatever it is, make sure that you are, of course, presenting options, which brings us to number 7. Thou shalt always start with the best option. Set the anchor high and work your way down.
Yeah, anchor high, sticker shock, price condition, whatever you want to call it. There's a million names for these things, but have an option that's so big that it blows people's hair back. Hear me, nervous young technician whose knees are shaking while I'm saying this. Your option 1 is meant to make them freak out. Like $800 a month. Are you insane? Well, I wanted to show you everything you could possibly do to upgrade and enjoy the quality of the air in your home at the highest level. And this is what it would take, right? But occasionally, once in a great while, somebody's going to go, what all is that? And you're going to go, it's all this. And they're going to go, $800 a month. That's pretty steep. What do you think, babe? I mean, we wanted to have emphysema ward quality air in our house for a long time now, right? Your lungs aren't getting any younger or whatever it is. And occasionally you will sell this mind-boggling option 1. But most of the time it will anchor their mind so high that when you show option 2, which used to be your option 1, it feels so much more digestible and easy that they go with it. That's what selling big to small does, quote unquote, right? Premium, mid-grade, economy, or what have you. That's if you were at the car dealership and I had a Rolls-Royce Phantom or a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, the Rolls-Royce SUV, $505,000, brand new right now, $505,000 SUV. No matter what car you wanted to see, we would swing you over there first. You got to see this thing. Like, no, I'm in the market for a $40,000 car. I know. But if you've never been in one, you're going to go in one now, and you're going to love it. Like, come on, jump in. No, you get in the driver's side, bro. You're going to love this thing, right? And this is what we would do. And this is what we do with our presentation of options. Option 1 is the absolute perfect system if money wasn't an object whatsoever. If your boss was writing the check for this homeowner and they can have anything they want, you're going to create the perfect system, and someone else is writing the check, right? You just have to create the perfect system for this person. This is your option 1 every time you present options. And once in a while, you'll sell it. But what it'll do mostly is make them puke so hard that option 2 feels like a welcomed relief, no matter how big it is. So that's the idea. We're price anchoring from here on out. Big O option 1.
Which I think is a great segue into the next one, which is commandment number 8. Thou shalt not fear the price. The problem is expensive. The solution is an investment.
Yeah. Yeah. Always, it was easy for me in plumbing, and I probably oversimplify it for the other trades, but this was always easy for me because I had seen all my life in plumbing, even the 7 years I was doing it before I got to Las Vegas in 2004, I saw time and time and time and time again people having catastrophes from their plumbing system and having to pay insurance premiums if they had insurance. Because I also saw a lot in Detroit where people didn't have homeowners insurance up to date. And they're like arguing with restoration companies how they're going to get this covered. But they have an insurance premium, or sorry, deductible, and their premium's going up. And they're out of the house for a few days with the big old fans and everything. And it's just a bloody mess. I mean, it's horrifying. And adding all those expenses to doing the job anyway, right? And then I'm there beforehand oftentimes and going like, it seems expensive now. It's not. It's expensive when you lose a couple days here because you have airplane engines sitting here drying out the carpet padding and you have a foot of drywall cut up all along the first floor of the home, and your drop ceiling in the basement below is all in the dumpster and all the insulation because that stuff can't be wet. And now the resto company's fighting so you don't get black mold in here. Like that's expensive. And then you're paying for this anyway on top of it, right? And then you're going to wait 6, 8, 12, 24 months and do it when you have an insurance deductible to cover on top of it. And is the repair going to be cheaper than it is now or more expensive, right? And I asked the question, and they go, probably more expensive. Right, so you're adding that to it as well. And I get now's not the ideal time. But let me ask you, Nate, do you think it's going to be ideal then?
Probably not.
Yeah, so I know there are some versions of that in the other trades. But if you're in plumbing, you're lucky in that this is a reality for us. There's no plumber anymore who doesn't have a resto company on speed dial, right? Because every catastrophe we come into has water damage. So we're protecting people from the much bigger problem of waiting until the danger that we're looking at now is an actual catastrophe. That's expensive. Your price to get this thing swapped out, drop in the bucket. So treat it like such. Don't argue with the client that it's not expensive. Let them vent. But don't start doing it for them as you're presenting. Get those knots out of the stomach.
Right. And that reminds me of the Andrew Dobbins original episode, Stop Selling Out of Your Wallet, which is so important, relevant to price, and specifically for younger, less financially secure technicians or tradespeople who view a 4-figure repair as something that is outside of their price range from a feasibility standpoint. And that, of course, dissuades you from offering those types of things because you insert yourself into the equation. That's not your job. Go ahead, see back to the options piece, see back to the asking questions piece, and then stop worrying about that price because you're talking about an actual issue that needs to be addressed. All right, we've gotten through 8. Let's finish it off here strong. Brian, number 9, thou shalt ask for the sale. Figured this one was going to make it. Be clear, be direct, respectful. If you don't ask, you don't serve.
As we call it in the GoPro system, thou shalt request ownership. The R in GoPro. I want to bring up that old statistic, but you know, the one I used to show the laminated sheet on the projector screen in the basement of your shop there back in 2013, 2014. But it was a survey done where they found that 20% of salespeople across 1,000 different selling professions, 100 different selling professions, and they trailed and rode with and listened to the calls of 1,000 salespeople. And they found that 20% of the salespeople made 80% of the commission. So if in all these 1,000 salespeople, there was $1 million of commission to be made, 200 of them made 800,000. And the other 800 people had to split the 200,000 that was left. Do that math quick. Do it. So the question is, which group do you want to be in? Top 20, bottom 80. Should be obvious. So they wanted to come up with what was the reason that the top 20% were so much better than the bottom 80. And they did all these personality tests, Myers-Briggs and DISC and all the other ones to figure out, was it a personality thing? And they couldn't pinpoint it. It didn't make a difference. The only difference they could finally come up with was that the top 20% asked everyone they presented to take it. A direct question to ask them to buy it. As many as 8 times, but at least once. And the bottom 80% of salespeople never asked a single time. Some people asked them for it and they lucked into a sale, but having a scripted question asking the person to take the order was not part of what they did. And then just this past year in 2025, the National Association of Sales Professionals released an article with Richard Fenton, friend of Waste No Day, who wrote Go for No with his wife, Andrea Waltz, stating that 85% of sales presentations in the United States end without someone ever being asked to take ownership. So R and GoPro request ownership step is the most important piece if you're trying to go from the bottom 80% of earners to the top 20. You do not present something without asking someone to buy it.
And that is such a miss in so many presentations, Brian. We've covered that before. It won't be the last time that we do cover it. But asking for the question is fundamental to every single job that you run.
Yeah, it's tough because I get guys asking for objection training, and I'll listen to calls. People with Rilla and FieldSpark and all these recording softwares. And we're supposed to be listening for the objection, but I get to the point where we present options, and options are presented, and it's like, and then blah, 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 and then this one, and blah, 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 and then this one, and blah, blah, blah. And you hear the client doing their Jeopardy move. And the client looks up, and you hear him just say like, all right, yeah, appreciate it, man. We're going to talk to my wife's cousin who's in the trades in Wisconsin. Obviously, it's 6 o'clock here, so it's 9 o'clock East Coast time. So we'll talk to him tomorrow, but we'll give you a call back either tomorrow or the next day, right? And you come back to the shop, or you get a hold of someone like me who can help you, and you're like, here's the objection I got, man. How do I overcome this objection? It's like, you didn't get an objection. You didn't ask them to buy it, and they didn't really know what to do. So you give them a sec to look at it, and my favorite way to do it is let's narrow down from 3 to 1, hypothetically speaking. Guys, if you were going to choose one of these today, which one do you think you'd lean towards? The middle one? That's a great option. More and more of the people we serve are choosing an option just like that one. That's probably the one I would have picked for you. Now, I believe I have all of that on my truck out front. Anything I don't have, I'll have an apprentice come from the shop and bring me the rest while I get started. I can have this all buttoned up, be out of your hair by the time you guys sit down to the basketball game tonight. Does that sound good? And we crack the eyebrows up, smile, and just start nodding yes. And I'll sit there until I get dizzy. Until they say yes or no. All right? And that's a legit ask. Even as soft as that sounded. We'll have it done before you guys sit down to watch reruns of King of Queens tonight, like you said you were going to. Does that sound good? Right? And I gave them every bit of information they needed. They see what the monthly is with the options. They choose to eliminate 2 of them and focus on just this one. I tell them how long it's going to take to put it in, how it'll look, when I'll be out of here. And I ask them if that sounds good. And they understand very well that if they say yes, sounds good, I'm pushing the tablet forward, saying, if you just give me an endorsement on that line right there, hand them the stylus pin, I'll go ahead and get started. And more times than not, on the ask like that, they go ahead and sign, and we go ahead and get started. The challenge is we sit there an uncomfortable 22 seconds, and they don't really know what's next or what delivery actually looks like. So they go, cool. Yeah, we'll give you a call back next week. We got a lot going on this weekend, but we'll take some time Sunday, chop it up, and we'll give you a call back next week. They were confused. You were confused. Mutual mystification. As Sandler training always said, we were mutually mystified about what was supposed to happen next. So the client took the wheel and drove us to a place you don't want to be, which is quote unquote objection land. But it's not an objection. You didn't ask them for anything. How can they object?
It's right on, Brian. And I do have to comment that I tell you what, if there was a DraftKings or FanDuel odds tonight of us or this episode using basketball analogies 3 separate times, a lot of people would have lost that bet, but it would have paid out for anybody who chose it. So well done.
Yeah.
Did not see that coming.
It's got to be obvious that Michigan Wolverines are the favorite, right? Because I don't care about basketball the slightest bit. Like, not at all. But boy, do the people who are into it keep texting me on my phone and on social about how well Michigan's doing. Like, guys who aren't even Michigan fans are just like, I see your Wolverines are in it, bro. I'm like, are they? It's basketball. Okay.
Yeah. Well, by the time this
Congrats
releases, they won't be in it. So we'll just take that to the bank now.
3-0. 3-0 against
this.
Ohio State this year. That was pretty fun.
Yes, yeah. Bring this to the end of the list. I got no problems with that. You can beat them up all day. And we're going to bookend this one with where we started. We started with what is your perspective on a maintenance call and why do you think it matters? That is, in fact, the 10th commandment. Thou shalt treat every call like it does matter, because it does, for the company, for the client, for your paycheck, and very specifically, your reputation.
Yes. Every call matters for every one of those things. But let's always remember that our reputation's on the line every time we knock on a door. And we have no way to know how many people this person has contact with. But they're distracted. They're stressed out. He's had a long day already, and it's only 10 a.m. You have no idea what's happened in his life up to this point. But because he's frustrated and distracted, your soft self, little emotional child, goes into a stressful, distracted mode and half does the inspection, half does the warm-up, and hurries up and gets out of their hair. Not realizing that they were anticipating a very thorough evaluation of their system, and you didn't give it to them because you couldn't control yourself. You brought your kid in from the truck with you, and your kid took the wheel at a time when it didn't make sense to have a kid driving. Which is no time, right? Never makes sense to have a kid driving. It's dangerous. So no matter how the clients act and treat this call like it means the world to you, like it means the world to them because it's their home, and like they had a stressful morning that you can't see, but you're not going to make it more stressful by shortchanging them on this inspection you're supposed to be doing. Treat the home like it matters. Treat the call like it matters. Certainly treat the client like it matters. And treat our time like it matters. Like, you're cutting out a piece of your freaking day, piece of your life you'll never get back to go spend this hour here. So give it everything.
Well, that was a great way to spend an hour, in my opinion, Brian, as we worked our way through all 10 of these commandments. Let's hit them one more time from the top. Number 1, thou shalt slow down. Number 2, thou shalt perform a complete inspection. Number 3, thou shalt educate the homeowner with analogies. Number 4, thou shalt take pictures and show proof. Number 5, thou shalt end most sentences with a question mark. Number 6, thou shalt present options, not ultimatums. Number 7, thou shalt always start with the best option. Number 8, thou shalt not fear the price. Number 9, thou shalt ask for the sale. And number 10, thou shalt treat every call like it matters. Great list, Brian. I think it is so impactful. If people can really listen to this episode and apply even 1 or 2 of these commandments, it will make a difference in their day right now.
Yeah, here, buddy. Me too. long overdue this episode. And we're gonna do some drilling down in the near future and talk about the 10 commandments of each type of maintenance and what things need to be looked at, or to the top 10 at least. But I pulled an audible an hour before the episode and told Nate, let's just go over the commandments of running a maintenance in general. And really, I would say in the case of this list, probably any call in general, you can probably apply this list to any call we run, right? But long overdue. Good job, buddy.
I appreciate you putting the list together, Brian. I think it was well done, well said, and well executed for the show. And I think it's a great place to wrap it up. As we gave you the 10 commandments today, we'd love to hear from you. Which one of those stood out to you as something that you need to work on, or that was really eye-opening for how you are perhaps running those calls, or what your perspective is on a maintenance call in general? There is gold in them hills, and we sure would encourage you to reevaluate your perspective if it is a negative one, or even if it's just neutral. These are opportunities, and they are opportunities in many companies and in many industries that are afforded to you at some of the slower times of the year, when you really actually have the time to focus, slow down, dial in, and give that 5-star performance. If you think this was a 5-star performance, we'd also like to hear from you, as we did at the top of the show. Leave us a review. We'd sure love to hear that, and we'll read it on air as long as it's 5 stars. But if it's not, we'd sure love to hear from you anyways. Hit us up in the social medias. Find us online. You can find us at bluecollarcloser.com as well if you're interested in taking your maintenance calls and everything about your presentation to the next level. And we're going to leave it there for you with our weekly challenge, which continues to be the same: to choose to wake up each and every morning and waste no day.